Changing the Narrative with Chantelle Painter. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Chantelle Painter. I work primarily as a human resources support in the way of recruitment and also do a lot of work in policy building and process management and removing barriers to employment for both employers and the people they seek to employ.
In your experience, what are the barriers to employment when it comes to today's standard recruitment process?
I think a lot of what's been lost in putting the human back in human resources has really contributed to some essential barriers being like recreated or created anew in the recruitment process. An example of that is like applicant tracking systems, which are great for organizing things like job requests and applications. Sometimes they're backloaded with some technology that can have biases actually influencing them. Sometimes it can actually enhance the bias of the hiring manager if they're not used properly, or if too many restrictions or filters are put on, say, a resume search through a database. As well, it really limits the number of people you're actually reaching, whereas, it's still, I think, great for employers to, put something up on, say, Indeed and get 100 resumes, but are they getting the right ones? And by and large, the feedback we're getting now is that no, they're not. They're getting yes for plenty of resumes, but no for that quality. And I think that having removed a lot of that, again, one-on-one human interaction, and in seeking better ways or more efficient ways to do things, we've inadvertently complicated the recruitment process so that hiring managers aren't getting what they need, and realistically, their entire talent pools that aren't being touched by job seeking.
What needs to be done to address these barriers?
I think a revisiting of recruitment processes for sure. I think a lot of consultation and a lot of, again, that human one-on-one interacting would go a long way. Speaking to those people who are seeking jobs and talking to them about their experiences, good and bad. Talking to people who want to sort of break into either the job market itself or maybe switch industries. I think talking to them about their experiences and how they're looking for jobs, where they're looking for jobs, what recommendations they're even getting on their resumes. I think we've got a lot of job developers that work for, agencies where they might have a certain set of, qualifications or belief systems about the way resumes should be built. And that's being communicated to job seekers. And there may be a disconnect in a specific industry or with a specific hiring organization, where those things aren't matching. And again, that's nobody's fault. There's no, things are changing very quickly. But I really think, again, that if we pay attention to the people who are job seeking and then tie that to the needs of the employer, you can find an even field and you can find solutions, creative solutions, both on how to find out who's hiring and for those hiring managers to get those qualified candidates.
What can an employer do to help ensure that they are engaging in completely inclusive recruitment practices?
So I think a good place to start is always employment standards. I think as a bare minimum, if you're covering those, you're not offside. I think what you can do beyond that, again, getting out and talking to job seekers, talking to your peers, reaching out to job development and into agencies who are helping to remove barriers in job seeking with people. Really, again, reaching out. I know everybody is really constrained for time, and time is our most valuable commodity. I think that if we find employers who are willing to give 5 minutes to listen, 5 minutes to receive instruction, are going to find that the time that they get on the back end and the time that they save in trying to seek out the talent they're looking for, really you end up with a return on investment that's, double and triple in some cases, just because you've done more proactive work up front.
The role of an employment support agency in inclusive employment.
I think agencies share as much ownership, I think, as organizations who are employing do. Again, when we talk about that human interaction, that really knowing what your goals are and how to best serve the people you're either trying to employ or trying to help get employment. I'm a firm believer in human-centered design as far as how to build out programs and processes. I do think it's essential to know the people who are eventually going to be either using the services or being employed. Their voices need to be first, strongest, and also need to be heard to be implemented. And there needs to be follow through on that. I think that without a complete feedback circle, you are creating programs or you have maybe career practices that are serving maybe one group, but maybe that's serving the employer and only on a limited scale. Maybe that is only helping an agency, as you said, advance their own agenda or advance their own KPIs for funding, which is, I know, sort of a circle that we get caught up in sometimes. But the truth is that the highest benefit and the highest return on investment is always going to occur when you have the people who are, again, the core users or the core influencers, when their voices and their needs are top of mind. When that happens, you end up with, again, a lot more work up front, which is what some people don't think they have the capacity for. But it saves so much more tenfold in time after the fact, because you put that effort in, you know where you need to be, you know what you need to do, and then execution just becomes so much easier and so much more free-flowing once you have the road laid out. It's always harder to hack your way through a forest where no one has, it's harder to hack your way through a forest where no one has been. But if you're going with a guide and somebody who's been there before and laying out the path, it's easier for more people to then come follow through and follow that path with you. So what we invest now and what we take our time to find out what is really needed now really will be the forecast of the success in the future.
Employee loyalty.
Organizations with inclusive policy perform better, have higher rates of return on not only investment, but also have a better bottom line, which in an organization that's for profit, their main goal is to make sure that their stakeholders and their shareholders are paid and that the most is being made of their investment. And the beauty of that with inclusion is that statistically, you're almost guaranteed to have a better outcome simply by having an inclusive workplace. It's one small sort of act, which, some people say they want an inclusive workplace, to make, everyone feel included or make the morale higher, or there's all these little bits of pieces where it is the right thing to do on a moral level. But because of that, you end up with such big payouts on a KPI level or on a return on investment, or when you're talking about profits. Statistically, the proof is all there, repeated over time, that those things come naturally once you have a fully engaged, fully valued workforce that feels that they belong. They do, to your point. They work harder, they stay longer, they are as passionate as you are about your business, which is something that we joke, you can't pay people to do that, because you can pay a wage, but that's no guarantee that, everyone's going to be driving towards the same goal. If you can find those people that have a genuine interest and, want to see your business succeed, that, that's the priceless moment that say MasterCard used to put on things. You can't pay enough for people who are going to propel your business forward. and from, again, just being decent human beings and trying to remove barriers and trying to seek out those people who are as passionate as you are.
When an inclusive hire doesn't work out for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's interesting how I think in relationships and jobs, there's such a natural draw to be like, you'll never find better than me. And I really fight against that, both, again, in personal and professional references, because to exactly your point, I hope if I leave an organization, they find somebody who's better for them, because obviously I brought a bunch of good things to their organization, but maybe I wasn't what they needed at the time. And in the same way, to leave an organization to find more of what fulfills you, it really is what seems like sort of a lose-lose situation really is positive, so long as both parties, again, professional or personal, are taking those little tidbits of what they need, of what drives them, and finding a person who either more accurately reflects that, or finding a space where maybe their views are more aligned or more valued. And so we can all grow, and it doesn't have to be a lose, because you obviously you gain things from learning, from just being in an organization that you'll carry forward, even if at one point that organization is no longer for you.
Any final comments?
I'd like to thank you for having me, and again, asking such important questions, because I know that we're in a state right now in the employment landscape where there are a lot of frustrated job seekers who are really, honestly trying their hardest to get into those occupations and into those industries that move them, that get them excited. And I know there's a lot of employers who are looking for those people who are excited to do what they do, who are excited to come to work every day. And really, it's going to take work to bring those two sets of people together, but it is totally accomplishable.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight and expertise with us, Chantelle. And thank you all for watching. And happy D.